In 1994, Saudi Arabia walked onto American soil for their first ever World Cup. Ranked among the weakest teams in the tournament, given no chance, expected to go home quietly. Instead, they beat Belgium. They beat Morocco. They reached the round of 16. And one man ran from his own half, beat 5 defenders, and scored a goal so good they still call it the Saudi Maradona moment, 32 years later. But while the world forgot about Saudi Arabia, they didn't forget the world. They spent billions. They bought superstars. They won the right to host the 2034 World Cup. And now, on the same American soil where the legend was born, the Green Falcons are back. This time the stakes are bigger than football. This is the story of a nation that built something enormous and is now performing its biggest audition yet. But to understand what Saudi Arabia are trying to prove in 2026, you have to go back to where it all started. The Green Falcons, 61 in the FIFA rankings, a squad built almost entirely from their own domestic league. On paper, a team nobody expects to make it past the group stage, but paper doesn't tell the full story. Saudi Arabia didn't even join FIFA until 1956. They couldn't enter World Cup qualification until 1976. The royal family had forbidden football in the kingdom until 1951. While Brazil and Germany were building dynasties, Saudi Arabia was still figuring out whether football was allowed. And yet, within 3 decades, they had won the Asian Cup 3 times: 1984, 1988, 1996. Back-to-back titles that made them the dominant force in Asian football. The first nation on the continent to win it twice in a row. Their greatest player, Majed Abdullah, spent 21 years at Al Nassr, scored 72 goals for his country, and was named Asian Player of the Year 3 consecutive times. A man so beloved that 70,000 fans packed into King Fahd Stadium just to watch his farewell match. 10 years after he retired. That is what football means in Saudi Arabia. Not a pastime, not a hobby, a national obsession. And now, a national project. Here is something the highlight reels won't show you. Saudi Arabia nearly didn't make it here. In the 3rd round of Asian qualifying, they were drawn in a group with Japan and Australia, 2 of the strongest sides in the continent. They finished 3rd, not good enough for automatic qualification, not even good enough for a direct playoff spot. For a nation preparing to host the 2034 World Cup, it was humiliating. They were pushed into a 4th round playoff, a second chance they weren't supposed to need, and even there, it went to the wire. Their goalkeeper, Nawaf Al-Akidi, made stoppage-time saves in their final qualifier, a goalless draw against Iraq in Jeddah, to seal their place. Not with a winner, with survival. They qualified on October 14, 2025, breathing hard, under pressure, with questions already being asked. Then came the chaos. Hervé Renard, the man who had led them to the most famous result in Saudi football history, the 2-1 victory over Argentina in Qatar 2022, was sacked. Not after a tournament, not after a failed campaign. 7 weeks before the World Cup began. After 2 friendly defeats, 6 days later, Georgios Donis was appointed. A Greek manager, 56 years old, a man who once played for Blackburn Rovers and had spent years coaching in the Saudi Pro League. 3 friendly matches to learn his squad. No time, no runway. A new tactical system to install against a group containing Spain and Uruguay. This is the backdrop. This is what Saudi Arabia are carrying into North America. But here is what you need to remember. They have been written off before. Every team has a heartbeat. Saudi Arabia's is 34 years old, plays on the left wing for Al Hilal, and has 108 international caps. Salem Al-Dawsari, captain, legend. The man who scored that goal against Argentina, a curling top corner finish in the 53rd minute that sent an entire nation into delirium. He is now the 2025 AFC Player of the Year. He arrives at his 3rd World Cup as the most experienced player in the squad, the joint highest Saudi scorer in World Cup history, and the player every opponent will build their defensive plan around. When Saudi Arabia needs something, they look left. The player the rest of the world should be watching is Saud Abdulhamid, 26 years old, right back, the only player in this entire squad based outside Saudi Arabia, on loan at RC Lens from AS Roma. In his first season in European football, he won the French Cup. He covers the entire flank, attacks relentlessly, and brings a technical quality built from years in a domestic league that is now attracting the world's best players. He is the bridge between what Saudi Arabia were and what they are trying to become. In goal, Nawaf Al-Akidi, the man whose hands kept them in this tournament during qualifying. At Al Nassr, alongside some of the most decorated players on the planet, he has been tested at the highest level week in, week out. What he does in the opening minutes against Uruguay could define Saudi Arabia's entire tournament. And up front, Firas Al-Buraikan, the Al Ahly striker who carried the attacking burden through qualifying. Not a name you will see on many billboards in North America. But goals are goals, and Al-Owairan scored when it mattered most on the road to this tournament. Here is the forward promise. One of these four players will do something in Group H that makes the football world stop and pay attention. The question is whether it will be enough. Group H. On paper, it could not be harder. Spain, the reigning European champions. Uruguay, two-time World Cup winners, one of the most tactically disciplined sides in the tournament. Cape Verde, first-time qualifiers with nothing to lose and everything to gain. Most analysts have Saudi Arabia finishing third or fourth. The odds give them a 37% chance of reaching the knockout stage. Even some of their own fans would privately admit that advancing would be a minor miracle. But here is the thing about Saudi Arabia and minor miracles. Argentina came into Qatar 2022 on a 36-game unbeaten run. They were the favorites. Saudi Arabia were the team the broadcasters barely mentioned. And then, in the space of 5 second-half minutes, Salem Al-Dawsari and Salem Al-Dawsari turned football history upside down. The format has also changed. 48 teams, 12 groups, the 8 best third-place finishers advance. Saudi Arabia do not need to beat Spain, they do not need to beat Uruguay, they need points, and they need them to count. A win over Cape Verde on June 26th in Houston could be enough. A point against either Spain or Uruguay would shift the calculation entirely. Georgios Donis has spoken about a compact defensive structure, quick transitions, and disciplined shape. His Saudi Arabia will not come out and play. They will absorb, they will wait, and when the space opens, they will run. It worked against Argentina. It can work again. But zoom out for a moment, because this World Cup is not just about 3 group stage games. Saudi Arabia will host the 2034 FIFA World Cup. They are building 14 new stadiums. Billions of dollars are being committed to infrastructure, academies, and player development. The Saudi Pro League has signed Ronaldo, Neymar, Benzema, not as a publicity stunt, but as part of a deliberate strategy to raise the standard of football the national team's players face every single week. This is a nation engineering its football identity in real time. And the 2026 World Cup in North America, on the same soil where Saudi Arabia first announced themselves to the world in 1994, is the most public test of whether that investment is working. If they go out in the group stage, the questions will be sharp. A nation spending billions to host the World Cup, eliminated before the knockouts, beaten by the very teams they will one day invite as guests. If they advance, if Al-Dawsari scores, if Al-Akidi saves, if Donis's defensive shape holds against Spain or Uruguay, it changes the narrative entirely. Not just for this tournament, for everything that comes after. 32 years ago, a Saudi player received the ball inside his own half, looked up, and ran. 5 defenders. 1 goal. One moment that nobody saw coming. The Green Falcons are back on American soil. The audition has begun. If you want to follow every twist of Saudi Arabia's World Cup and every other team's story, subscribe to World Cup Untold. The tournament starts June 11th. We will be here for all of it.